Hello students and Namaste everyone. I am Dhaval sir and I welcome you all to the online session of Vidyadish Vidya Sankul School. Students, in our today's lecture we are going to discuss about your standard 8th supplementary reader number 1. Okay, your name of supplementary reader book is It So Happened, and from that your first chapter is How the Camel Got His Hump, okay, by Rudyard Kipling. Here in the bracket it is written as abridged. Now what is the meaning of the word abridged? Right, so abridged means this chapter from where it is taken, okay, it is in the reduced form. That means some of the words are reduced and the length of the chapter is reduced without losing the sense or without changing the meaning. So that is known as abridged. Okay. So first of all, in this chapter I will discuss about the summary of the chapter and then we will go to the textual part. Okay. So this chapter is a story, okay. In that there is a tale, T-A-L-E, tale, again means a story, okay, which describes about the time when the world had just begun, okay, when the world had just begun, and that was the time when the animals, they used to work for the humans, okay. So at that time the animals like the horse, the ox, the dog, okay, so the camel, they are the main characters of this story, okay. So what happens, that is among these animals there was an animal named Camel who used to live in the middle of the desert because it did not want to work, okay. The camel was so lazy that it did not want to work, therefore he used to live in the middle of the desert, okay. So once what happens, the horse, okay, on the Monday morning meets the camel and asks the camel to come and help them out, okay. But what did the camel say? Hum, okay. So whenever anyone told anything to the camel always used to say hum, okay, H-U-M-P, hump, okay. So later on the same day, what happened again, the dog, when the dog meets the camel and asks the camel to help him in fetching the things, okay, to get the things, okay, again the camel, what did it say? Hum. Then later on the ox meets the camel and asks the camel, okay, to plow the field like the other animals they were doing. Again, what did the camel say? Hump, okay. So this is how the camel used to reply to all the animals. Then what happened at that time, all the three of them, okay, what did they do? They at the end of the day informed this thing to the men, M-A-N, men, because the animals, they used to work for the men, okay. So what did the men do when he got this information? Later on the men called all three of them together, okay. Then what did he do? He told these animals that you need to work double shift. That means you need to work double, because the hump, he was talking about the camel, that is the hump would not work. What the men said, that if he is not working, then his part of the work is to be done by you all, and therefore you have to work double shift. Therefore all these three animals, that is horse, dog and the ox, they become very angry and they decide to conduct a panchayat. Panchayat means meeting, okay. So they were discussing the things in the meeting. At that point of time, the jinn of all the forest, okay, who was the in charge of all the forest, all the area, okay, he saw them in an angry mood, and upon asking them, the horse said that because of one animal who is not working, who is lazy enough and who is not working, because of that animal we have to work double shift, okay. And the other two animals, dog and ox, even they also complained to the jinn that just because of this lazy animal named camel, we have to work a lot, okay. Then what happened? The jinn takes the matter in his own hands, okay, and he goes to visit the animal. He decides to see the animal, and when he went to see the animal, that is the camel was drinking water in the pond, and he was looking at his own shadow in the water, okay, and when the jinn looked at it, jinn tried to ask him or tried to communicate with him, but the camel even did not reply properly to the jinn also, okay. So what happened? The jinn got angry, and when the camel was having water from the pond, at that same time when he was looking at his own shadow, okay, on the back side of the camel something started puffing up. Puffing up means something started swallowing, okay. Usually when we are hurt, then we get a swollen part over there, we get swollen sojijo, okay. So in the same way, the camel is getting its backside puffing it, which came to be known as hump, okay. So the camel was a bit surprised and worried that what happened to him, what happened to his back, right. At that time, when he asked the jinn about it, the jinn told him that this is just because of yourself, you did not do the work, and therefore I have given this in the form of punishment, okay. So the camel was worried, right, and to make him work, what did the jinn say? The jinn told camel that don't worry, if you will start working, then this hump will be helpful to you, okay. With the help of this hump, you will be able to work without eating anything for at least 3 days, okay. So by listening to this, the camel started working, but at the end the writer has written that it started working with the hump itself, but it did not behave properly, okay. Fine. So at the end also it is written that it still did not behave properly with the people, okay. So this is how the story comes to an end. So that was the summary part of this chapter. Now let us begin with the textual explanation, okay. So starting from the first paragraph, okay, here the points are the introduction points usually at the beginning of the paragraph. So let us read out. The world had just begun, that means the beginning of the world was there, and the animals were working for the humans, okay. There was one lazy animal that did not do anything and said nothing but hum. Even the clever jinn was at his wits' end, okay. Even the clever jinn was at wits' end. Wit means very clever, okay, chatur. So the jinn on the other end was very clever enough, and he knew how to get work from the camel, okay. So in the beginning, when the world was new and the animals were just beginning to work for men, there was a camel, and he lived in the middle of the howling desert. Howling means empty and desolate, that means the place where there are no human beings living, okay, without any inhabitant, that means no one lives over there. So he lived in the middle of the howling desert, okay. So as there were no human beings living over there, no one will tell that animal to work for him, okay. Therefore he lived in the middle of the desert because he did not want to work, okay. He ate sticks and thorns, kanta, okay, and prickles. And when you might have seen in the desert area, thorns and prickles they grow, okay, plants having thorns and prickles. And when anybody spoke to him, he said hum, just hum and no more. That means he always used to say hum, okay. Next paragraph. Presently the horse came to him on Monday morning, okay. As I told you in the summary, on Monday morning the horse came to him with a saddle on his back. What is the meaning of saddle? So usually there is a leather cover seat for the rider of an animal, right. On the back of a horse you find something made up of leather where the rider sits, okay, or upon which the rider sits is known as saddle. So saddle on his back and said, Camel, O camel, come out and trot like the rest of us. Trot means what? To ride, drive or proceed, that means to do some work, okay. Hum, said the camel, and the horse went away and told the men, that means he informed the men, okay. Presently the dog came to him with a stick in his mouth. You can see the picture. The dog is there with a stick in his mouth and is going to the camel and said, Camel, O camel, come and fetch and carry like the rest of us. Fetch means what? To go and bring. That means to go somewhere and bring the things which are informed to them. Okay? Hump, said the camel. And the dog went away and told the men. That means individually the animals, the horse, the dog, they are informing the men that I told the camel to do the work, but it did not do any work. Okay? Moving further. Okay, moving to the next slide. That made the three very angry. Okay, just a second. Yeah. So, the next slide is like this. Presently the ox came to him. Okay, first the horse, then the dog, and then the ox came to him with the yoke on his neck. Now, what is the meaning of yoke? Okay, a wooden bar or frame by which two draft animals such as ox are joined. I have given the picture over here. You can see this arrow. Yeah, this one. So this is known as yoke. Okay, so it is a wooden bar with the help of which two animals, okay, who are made to work together are attached or joined. Okay, so yoke on his neck and said, Camel, O camel, come and plow like the rest of us. Right, you know the ploughing of the field. Okay, Hump, said the camel, and the ox went away and told the men. Later, at the end of the day, the men called the horse and the dog and the ox together and said, 3, O 3, I am very sorry for you, but that hump thing means camel, in the desert can't work. That means the camel is not going to do any kind of work. Okay, or he would have been here by now. That means if we wanted to work, then he would be here. You can see in the picture. Right, this is the men and all these three are called by the men. And what he is saying, that if the camel wanted to work, then he might have come over here. Okay. Further, so I am going to leave him alone and you must work double time to make up for it. So what the man is saying, that whatever work he is not doing, for that part of the work you have to work, and for that you need to work double the time. Okay, moving further. That made the three very angry and they held a panchayat. Panchayat means meeting on the edge of the desert, and the camel came chewing curd. Okay, they were discussing in the meeting, all three of them at that same point of time. The camel is coming chewing the curd. Now what is the meaning of curd? Many a times we have seen the animals, whatever they are given the food, they swallow all the things together, then again they remove it back and they start chewing it. I have written the meaning: food brought up into the mouth by ruminating animal from its rumen to be chewed again. Right. So as I told you, I will give you one example of cow. How much or whatever food you give to the cow, they will just swallow it up. Then later on they will sit at a place, again all the things will be out in their mouth and they will be chewing it. Okay. So that is curd, and laughed at them. Okay. The camel did not do any kind of work, but at the end what it is doing? Laughing at them. Then he said hump and went away again. Presently there came along the jinn. So you can see in the picture, all three of them are having their meeting at that same point of time. Jinn is coming, right? You can see the picture. Okay, along the jinn who was in charge of all deserts, rolling in the cloud of a dust. Okay, you might have seen in the serials or movies how do the jinn come, right? Many times we have seen the pot when we brush the pot, okay, or when we touch the pot like this, then rolling, that is with the rolling movement, the jinn comes like this. Okay, jinn of all deserts, said the horse, is it right for anyone to be idle? Okay, idle means lazy. Okay, certainly not, said the jinn. So horse asked the jinn that is it proper that if someone doesn't do any kind of work, then what the jinn is saying, certainly not. Okay, moving further. Well, said the horse, there is a thing in the middle of your desert. So what the horse is saying, that there is a thing in the middle of your desert with a long neck and a long legs, with a long neck and long legs, and he hasn't done a stroke of work since Monday morning. That means he hasn't done any kind of work. Okay, he won't trot, that means do any kind of work, said the jinn whistling, right? That's my camel. What the jinn is saying, that's my camel. What does he say about it? Okay, he says hum. So jinn is asking that what does he say about it. That means when you ask him for the work, what does it say? Then what the horse is saying, hum. And he won't plow, said the ox. That means the ox, the horse, they are complaining to the jinn. Very good, said the jinn. I will hump him. I will hump him means I will deal with him appropriately. Okay, that means what the jinn is saying, if we say in Hindi कि अब मैं उसको सबक सिखाऊंगा. Okay, let me deal with the situation. If you will kindly wait a minute, that means he is saying you just wait for a minute, let me look into the matter. Okay, next what is happening, that is the jinn remonstrated with the camel who said hum. Remonstrated means complained, that means he went to the camel and complained that why you are not working. The camel's beautiful back suddenly grew a lump. Okay, lump means an abnormal swelling. So the back of the camel grew like this. Okay, which was the camel's hump. The jinn assured the camel his hump would always be a help, not a hindrance. Hindrance means obstacle or obstruction in the work. Okay, so what happened, the jinn, so this is just the points, main points which are given in the paragraph further. Okay, a kind of summary which is given at the beginning. So we'll move further. The jinn rolled himself up in his dust cloak. Cloak means a loose outer garment. Okay, so the jinn was wearing the garment which was very dusty, and took a walk across the desert and found the camel looking at his own reflection in the pool of water. You can see the picture over here. The jinn has arrived, the camel is looking into the water and having a look at his own picture. Okay, my friend, said the jinn, what is this? I hear of you doing no work. The jinn sat down with his chin in his hands. You can see the picture, right? Okay, with his hand. Okay, what it is written? Yes, with his chin in his hands, while the camel looked at his own reflection in the pool of water. That means when the jinn is trying to talk with the camel, even the camel is not giving proper response to the jinn also. Okay, so you have given the 3 extra work ever since. So jinn is saying that you are not working, and therefore whatever work is to be done by you is given to the other 3 animals as an extra work. Okay, so moving further, since Monday morning, all on account of your idleness, said the jinn, and he went on thinking with his chin in his hand. Hum, said the camel. Okay, I shouldn't say that again if I were you, said the jinn. What the jinn is saying, that if I was in your place, then I would have never repeated this word hump again. Okay, you might say it once too often, I want to work. So what the jinn is saying, that you should say that I want to work instead of hum. And the camel said hump again. But no sooner had he said it than he saw his back that he was so proud of, puffing up into a great big hump. So now what happened? As again the camel said hum, the jinn got angry, and what happened because of that? When the camel was looking at his own picture, the back, okay, the camel was proud of, started puffing up. That means it started swelling. Okay, and a big hump grew on his back. Okay, do you see that? Said the jinn. That's your very own hump that you have bought upon your very own self, but not working, by not working. That means the gene is saying that as you are not working, okay, the hump will keep on growing. Okay. Today is Thursday and you have done no work since Monday. When the work began, now you are going to work. What the gene is saying? That now you are going to work. Okay. How can I, said the camel, with this hump on my back? Okay, now again the camel is giving a kind of excuse that how can I work this with this back, with a hump? That has a purpose. Now what the gene is saying, that you have got the hump and that is for some purpose. Okay, what is the purpose? What gene is saying? Said the gene, all because you missed those 3 days, you will be able to work now for 3 days without eating. Now what the gene said, that with this hump you will be able to work continuously for 3 days without eating any kind of food. Okay, because you can live on your hump. And don't you ever say, I never did anything for you. Now what the gene is saying, that I have given you the hump which will be helpful to you in your work, and therefore never say that I have never helped you. Okay, come out of the desert and go to the tree and behave. What the gene is saying, that come out of the desert and go to the tree and behave. That means start doing your work. Okay, and the camel went away to join the tree, and from that day to this the camel always wears a hump. We call it hump now, not to hurt his feeling. That means we have seen the hump on the back of a camel. Okay, but he has never yet caught up with the 3 days that he missed at the beginning of the world, and he has never yet learned how to behave. So at the end what it is written, that though a hump had grown on his back, okay, he never did caught up with those 3 days. That means he never completed the work of those 3 days. Now at present the camel does the work, but those 3 days work is still pending, and he has never yet learned to behave. That means still he doesn't know how to behave with others and to do the work. Okay, so that's it for today. Our chapter gets ended over here. Okay, and I'll end my lecture over here. So thank you everyone for listening to me. Stay healthy, stay safe.